Here we go, another season, folks, of Deck Talk. We're here at Rapid Marine in Ham Lake, Minnesota. Going to talk about getting your boat ready for the season. There's a lot of things you want to focus on when it comes to getting ready for the open water season. Number of things we're going to go through today. I'm here with my son Jack. He's here enjoying the atmosphere. It's a family-friendly place at several locations. So if you're looking to get your hands on a new boat, make sure you stop in. Outside of what we're going to teach you here today, come in, talk to the friendly folks here at Rapid Marine, and get your questions answered. So stay tuned here. We're going to talk about boat maintenance, getting ready for the 2012 open water fishing season. Getting started here with boat maintenance, getting ready for the season. There's a lot of things that go overlooked when you get started. Don't be the first mistake. Be when you get in the water, turn your engine over when you're at the boat launch as your boat's floating away. I see it every year. People launch their boats, they try to start the motor, it doesn't kick, and it doesn't want to do what it's supposed to do. So make sure you check your motor prior to hitting the water. Some of the important key things to look at. Oil filters, make sure those things are up to par. Check them, make sure your oil levels are where they're at. Check your spark plugs, check your lower gear unit. Some of these motors, especially when you get into the bigger Mercury motors, the Optimax, larger 4-strokes, the Verados, whatever motor you decide to choose, check your lower gear unit. Check that out, drain it, make sure there's no water in there. Over the winter, especially here in Minnesota or in the northern parts of the country where we have cold winters, the last thing you want to do is to have any water inside those systems so they freeze, they can expand. Lots of issues. You can drastically reduce costs if you just focus on some of these key elements prior to hitting the water. So take a look at your motor, pop the top off, check the spark plug like I said, check your oil levels. If you need to add some oil, add it. If you need to replace oil, do that. Take a look at it for certain different colors. Dark oil oftentimes resembles there's water in there. Change it out. It's a $50, $60, $70 fix that can save you a lot of money in the long run, because if something goes bad to one of these engines, especially with some of the larger motors, it can be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in cost of repair. So stay tuned. Be very important to check your motor here before you hit the water this open water season. Next on our list of to do is to check your props. Make sure your props are running accurately. Make sure nothing's corroded. Sometimes you see some motors that are sitting outside. Check your screws, check your bolts, check those sorts of things. Checks for nicks, checks for dings. A lot of places can hammer props down and get them back to the operating power. Otherwise, if you need to replace it, replace it. Your prop's going to give you a lot of characteristics when it comes to using your outboard. Hull shot, getting up on plane, performance. A lot of things can be deterred if your prop is nicked, damaged, or broken. So pay attention to that as well before you get into the open water season. I've heard stories where people store their boats in the garage during the winter and they end up hitting their prop with something, whether it be a snowblower or whatever it might be, and it dings it up. So pay attention to those things. Another thing that might go often overlooked when it comes to getting ready for the open water season. Another thing, as you can see over here, your boat plug. Make sure your boat plug is going. Make sure your boat plug works. Make sure it's functional. As you know, with some of the rules here in Minnesota, you need to have your boat plug all the way out like you see here when you're transporting it. So just make sure it even works in the first place. Again, I've seen stories where people get to the access and they don't even have a boat plug in their boat. They launch their boat. They haven't launched their boat for months, so they forget some of the things they need to do to make sure it's ready to hit the water. And next thing you know, they got water in the boat and they're pulling it back out and their day's ruined. So those are simple things just to keep eye on. Your straps, all the certain things that you again, go unnoticed. Your straps, make sure they're not torn or not worn. Again, these are going to be ways to hold your boat onto your lift or onto your trailer. Make sure these minor items, these things like this are fixed, because again, they're relatively inexpensive. You can get these parts here at Rapid Sport and you can make sure that your trailer and your boat's secured. Those things are very, very important. Another thing too, and I see it every year, when you hit the water for the first time, make sure these things are off when you go to back your boat in the water. I see it almost every year. Somebody's at the access revving their boat off their lift or off their trailer. Can't figure out why it's not working, and it happens to be because their straps are still attached. So again, boat plugs, check those items out, check out your props, and then go here and check your straps and some of the items that have to do with your trailer, whether it be trailer tires, tire pressure, hubs, bearings, all those sorts of things on your trailer as well. I know we talk heavily on getting your boat prepared for the season, but some of the items like the trailer tires and making sure those things are up to par can drastically reduce the amount of frustration you have this open water season. Moving down the line of your trailer, we've talked about some of the tire pressures, the bearings, the bushings, all those sorts of things, the back end of your boat, your outboard. Those are important characteristics, important things to focus on when you're getting ready for the open water season. Next is your spare tire. Most boats come with a spare tire or have one on there. Some of them are relatively old. Check them to make sure that everything is still good to go on these spare tires. The last thing you want to have happen is you want to be going to a tournament, you want to be, maybe you're a fishing guide, maybe you're a recreational fisherman, maybe you're going on vacation, whatever you might be doing, and you go to your destination and a tire in your trailer blows. The worst thing to have happen is obviously to not have a spare to replace that and you're stranded on the side of the road. So check your spare tire, make sure it's in optimal condition. Very, very important. Next thing is your trailer lights. These LED lights, while they are relatively bulletproof, they can be broken, they can be damaged, they can, quit working. There's a lot of things that can be replaced on your trailer outside of just the obvious. So make sure your lights are up to par. Plug in your lights to your truck before you go out the first time to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. Make sure they're not burnt out, all those sorts of things. Check for corrosion. Some of the plug-ins, the leads that go to your truck from your boat trailer can get corroded over time, especially if you store your boat outside during the winter. Check to make sure those items are up to par and working the way they're supposed to. Check your blinkers, check your turn signals, check all those sorts of things so that your trailer is fully functional. So again, get your spare tire in gear, check your lighting system, check all the components of your trailer as much as you would your boat. Other obvious things you want to focus on when you're getting ready for the open water season is your battery connections. Make sure your leads aren't corroded, make sure those sorts of things are optimal. If you need to replace your battery, replace your battery. Again, this is your lifeline to your boat. This is what's going to power everything. It's what's going to start your outboard. So it's going to power your electronics, all those sorts of things. So check your fuses, check your lines. Again, some of these connections, some of these leads can get corroded over the winter season if you leave things hooked up. Hopefully you didn't leave them hooked up over the open summer or winter season and you put a charge on them every so often. But check your batteries, make sure they're working. Test things in your driveway prior to getting onto the water. Another one of the common issues I see once people get the boats back on for open water is trolling motors. Trolling motors aren't working, they're not doing the things they're supposed to. First of all, make sure they're hooked up properly. Depending on the system you have for a trolling motor, whether it's a 12 volt, a 24 volt, or a 36 volt, obviously you're going to have a variance in batteries. Make sure the leads are all connected properly. Stop by your local marine dealership, stop by Rapid Sport here, ask them some questions if you do have any issues with connecting your batteries to your power for your trolling motor. Because there's different systems and ways and configurations to rig those, some of which can be confusing. One tip that I always give myself every fall before I put the boat away, I draw down a configure of how I have my leads hooked up to my batteries for my trolling motors, so come springtime there's no confusion. Otherwise, like I said, if you have any questions, give the gentleman here at Rapid Sport a call, stop on in and show them what you got going on, and I'm sure they'll help you out. Otherwise, some of the things to consider here with the trolling motors, make sure your brackets, where the trolling motor is actually mounted onto the boat, is secured. Again, you don't want that falling out or falling off because you didn't take some of the simple steps to make sure it was secured properly. Make sure your power leads, again, looking for corrosion, any sort of things that could possibly happen. Make sure you plug it in and test it in the driveway before you even hit the water. Again, it's just like doing any kind of sport. You want to practice before you get out there. So make sure you practice with your boat. Make sure you do the things that you're going to do while you fish, maybe in your driveway. It might not be the best idea to start your outboard and rev it up in the driveway. I would definitely not recommend that. But as far as your trolling motor, electronics, live wells, make sure your pumps to your live wells are working, all those sorts of things. Some of the minor things you can do very, very easily in your driveway to save on a lot of frustration, time, and probably costly situations in the future. So test your trolling motor before you hit the water. Check your blades, make sure they're spinning properly. If you have some of the universal sonar systems that are in a lot of the current models of the Minn Kotas, make sure you check those as well. Make sure they're working in tune with the units that you tend to tie them into. So trolling motor is very, very important, a good tool to have on your boat. Most boats are having them nowadays. It's something you use on a regular basis. So again, make sure you got the proper batteries installed, make sure the configuration is right, and test in your driveway before you hit the water. Well, Jack and my son and I had a lot of fun here at Rapid Marine here in Ham Lake, Minnesota. Like I said, they got several locations. Check them out. If you have any questions, contact them, 763-434-1111, or go to rapidmarine.com and check out their location, see what they have to offer. I think you're going to be greatly surprised at the availability, the selection, everything that comes into it. Lots of boats here, huh, Jack? Did you have fun? Did you have fun playing in the boats?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this driving wheel, it doesn't break.
Yeah, they don't break. There you go. Like I said, check them out. Check out Rapid Marine. They have lots to offer. They have lots of parts. They have lots of accessories. You can get anything you need for your boat, whether it be oil, whether it be miscellaneous parts, whether it be lights, whether it be parts for your trailer. They have a full service shop here that will service your needs. They do repairs. They do rigging. So if you get a new locator, you get a new trolling motor, they will rig it for you here at Rapid Marine. Just give them a call. Contact them. Again, like I said, 763-434-1111 will get you in touch with somebody here at Rapid Marine. Or go to rapidmarine.com and check out the website for everything they have to offer. Again, this is Matt Johnson, and this is, what's your name?
Jack Johnson.
This is Jack with Deck Talk. We'll catch you next week.